This weekend's Canadian Grand Prix takes place on the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, beautiful location. So let's have a look at this low downforce circuit and what it means for the drivers. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada, one of my favorite Grand Prix venues. Lovely circuit too, a lot of history. First attended this race in 1978 when it was held in the winter, and you may remember that race. Gilles Villeneuve won his first Grand Prix. It was a fairy story. But beyond that, it was snowing on the podium. That was what the Grand Prix was like for several years. It was always cold, it was always wet, windy. But these days, of course, it's midsummer in Canada and it's usually hot, full of mosquitoes, quite humid. Very different feel to it. And other things have changed as well. But let's have a look at the circuit. You can see a bit of elevation there. Actually, when you're at the circuit, you don't really feel that elevation at all. To me, it's basically flat. Nice circuit. The best corner for watching, without any doubt at all, is the exit of 1 going into 2. And interestingly, there's a great spectator area where that number 2 is. Lots of grandstands. You can go up in the stands or you can stand at ground level. The crowd are big there. And from that angle, you can see the cars coming out of 1, quite a lot of movement, and then they brake hard into 2. Of course, the real art here, and it's very difficult to see unless you're in exactly the right position. And to me, that's probably just 3 inches to the right of that number 2 there, of the cars as they come out of 1, some of the drivers creating a little flat car area to get the car stopped for turn 2. Very difficult to see, and it's microscopically quick. But the drivers, the very, very good drivers, will be doing that. Out of 2, the road does go up a little bit, I will concede that. And of course, the exit for 2 is critical. There's a bit of a straight there. And if you are sideways, you're running a bit wide, you've got too much oversteer, you will lose time on acceleration. It's a good place for a quicker, better driver to get down the inside on that run out of 2. Accelerating out of 2 into 3, you come to the bottleneck, particularly on the first lap. Pretty tight chicane, vicious curbs in the middle of the corner, and you see many cars hitting the wall coming out of turn 4. That's as a result usually of hitting the apex curb at 3. So something to be avoided if possible. But as I say, going into 3, not a lot of room there. You do get a run perhaps on that first lap coming out of 2. It's tempting to be there. 2 cars do fit, but they don't fit when it comes to the braking area, as we've seen. So watch that. It's a great television point for the opening lap of the race. Out of 4, I've watched many times by turn 5 on the outside of that right-hander. Very, very quick. It is flat, and it will be flat this year, but the car's even faster this year. And if you really want to get an impression of speed of the 2018 Formula 1 cars, that is a great place to be. Problem is, it's jungle there, and you've really got to be mates with the marshals to get a decent spot to look at them, but it absolutely makes your eyes water as you see them accelerate around that curve, turn 5. After that, you come to turn 6 and 7, pretty boring chicane, won't spend too much time talking about that. Accelerate out of 7 into the next chicane, which is slightly quicker, and famous, of course, for the corner on which Robert Kubica lost it on exit, went on the grass and had that massive shunt all the way down to turn 10, the hairpin. Turn 10, great place to watch. Always good to watch cars braking from very high speed, particularly if they're not wearing massive downforce. Not too much to say about the hairpin itself, but coming out of it, we enter a very historic part of the circuit, just after where it says number 11 there. That's where the old control tower and the pits used to be, and the garage area used to be at the back, effectively, of turn 10 in the old rowing sheds. The great thing about turn 13 and 14 is that there's a wall on the outside. Easy for me to say great, because I'm not the guy actually facing the wall on exit. These days you see a lot of drivers going straight on at 13 and then rejoining on the slip road there. That's because they're slightly worried that maybe they are going to hit the wall with the entry speed they have, or maybe they braked a little bit too late or with a bit of angle on the car. But if you do get it wrong coming out of turn 14, you can hit the wall hard, and that's why it's known as the Wall of Champions, because we have had races where many world champions have hit that wall. A couple of other comments to make about this lovely circuit just south of the downtown part of Montreal is that it is surrounded by water. Great atmosphere. You occasionally see huge tankers going down in the St. Lawrence Seaway outside the circuit as well. That adds a little bit to it, puts life into perspective. Overall, lovely Grand Prix circuit. Can't wait. That's all for this week's show. We're back again next week with a full review of the Canadian Grand Prix and looking ahead still further to the Le Mans 24 Hours. See you then.